Though it was downplayed as a mere informal interaction, this handshake between U.S. President Barack Obama and his Cuban counterpart Raul Castro, backstage before the official opening of the Summit of the Americas, nonetheless marked a historic moment. The highly anticipated first personal interaction between the two countries' heads of state since 1956 was the result of 18 months of top-secret diplomacy, which helped turn the page on the 53 years of conflict.
I am proud to be with you at this first ever official gathering of civil society leaders at the Summit of the Americas. And I'm pleased to have Cuba represented with us at this summit for the very first time. Days in which our agenda in this hemisphere so often presumed that the United States could meddle with the Cuban. Those days are past.
It was the first time that a Cuban leader has attended the summit in its 21-year history. Of the roughly 12,000 participants in this year's summit are the Secretary General of the United Nations. In his opening speech, Ban Ki-moon highlighted the thaw in relations between the U.S. and Cuba to the applause of the crowd.
The presence here today of President Raul Castro of Cuba embodies a long expressed by many in the region. I'd like to once again commend the leadership of President Obama of the United States and President Castro for initiating normalization of bilateral relations.
But much remains to be done. The announcements of the thaw between the Cold War enemies in December opened the door to long and difficult negotiations to resolve many contentious issues, including the crucial lifting of the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba. The primary obstacle on the path to normalization is the presence of Cuba on the U.S. list of countries supporting terrorism. The State Department has recommended that Cuba be taken off the list, and Obama is expected to agree. If he announces it in the coming days, it will signal a much more historic move than a mere handshake.